Welcome back to another episode of AI-powered mapping for the ArcGIS web developer. In this video, we'll be creating an app that uses Azure's Custom Vision for landmark detection and then maps the result with ArcGIS. I'll walk you through setting up Custom Vision and then we'll get into the code to build the app. Alright, first let's get started with Azure Custom Vision. Now, Custom Vision is a tool from Microsoft that allows us to train AI models to classify images. So, the first thing you'll need is an Azure account, and then once you've logged in, you'll create a new project with a classification model. Then you can upload images to your project, and then train the model. So what I did for mine is I selected 3 different landmarks, and I uploaded 5 different images for each one of those landmarks, and made sure that each landmark had the same tag. So for instance, all of my Sydney Opera House images had that tag. Now once your model is trained, you can use it to classify new images. And you'll get a prediction endpoint and a prediction key, which we'll be using in our code in a bit. Alright, now let's go ahead and get into the code. We'll be starting with the same basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript from our previous videos. Now in our HTML, we'll need to add an input where the user can upload their landmark image. We'll also add a Classify Image button to send the image to Custom Vision for classification. And then finally, I'll have a place to put the result of the classification and the map. Now I'll skip adding CSS as I'm just trying to show functionality, but of course you can certainly make this app look much nicer with a bit of styling. Okay, onto the JavaScript. Above the entire script here, I'm going to add some logic for my image classification. I'll create a function called Classify Image. In a file variable, I'll get the image that the user provided. Next, I'm going to create a form data object. I'll append the image file to the form data object under the key File. And this is how we prepare the image data to be sent in a POST request. Now next, I'm using fetch to send the image to the Azure Custom Vision API. This POST request contains the image data. I'll include the prediction key in the headers to authenticate the request. The body is the form data object we created earlier. Now once the request is sent, I await the response. And then I parse the JSON response to extract the predicted label and its confidence probability. Now this is the result of the image classification. Now I display the results on the page. I'll update the text content of the results element to show the landmark's name and the confidence percentage. And then I'll call the zoom to landmark function, passing the label and the file to zoom into the location of the identified landmark on the map. And actually, let me go ahead and also log the results here so we can see those in the console when we go to test out our app. Next, I'll create a zoom to landmark function, and this is where our map logic will go. So right above that map logic, I'm going to provide the locations of the 3 landmarks that I trained my model on. And you could use a geocoding service for this, but I'm going to go ahead and just hard code these in. Now next, I'll create a coordinates variable to hold the chosen landmark coordinates. I'll also create an image URL variable to hold the image. And now within my map logic, I'm going to add Azure graphic and the graphics layer and get rid of the feature layer. Now below the map view, I'll create my graphics layer and add it to my map. And then I'll create an image graphic variable to hold my image that I uploaded. And this will be placed on my map. So I'll give it the geometry type of point and longitude and latitude location. The symbol will be type picture marker. I'll set its URL and then width and height of how large I want it to be. And finally, I'll add this image graphic to my graphics layer. Okay, let's go ahead and test this out. All right, when we open this up, we can see our Choose File button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I've already downloaded a couple images to test out. So let's go ahead and test out this one. This is a side profile here of the Colosseum. I'll go ahead and click Classify Image. And 100% confidence for Colosseum, and we see it located right there in Rome on our map. Great. Let me test out one more. Let's try the Sydney Opera House. Classify this image. And again, we get 100% confidence of the Sydney Opera House. Now, the last thing I want to show is the confidence scores in the console over here. So if we look, what we get is we get our predictions, and we can see the probability of what it predicted each one of these images to be. So for the Sydney Opera House one that we just did, it gave a probability of 0.999982, which clearly was rounded up to 100%. And that's it. And that's it for today's video. We've covered how to classify an image with Azure's Custom Vision and display the results on an ArcGIS JavaScript map. I'll see you in the next video where we'll learn more AI-powered mapping techniques. Thanks for following along, and happy coding!